Shalom and greetings from Jerusalem, Jane. It's still Shabbat, but I wanted to give you an update on what's happening here in Israel because I have shed quite a few tears and I know this whole nation has. I want to show you something. Look at this boy. Look at this boy. Look at this family. This was 9-year-old Ohad Munder and his grandmother, her name is Ruth, and his mother, her name is Karen. All three of them was captured by Hamas on that horrendous day, October 7, when 1,200 Israelis were brutally massacred. 5,000 people were injured and 240 people were kidnapped into the Gaza Strip. This young boy celebrated his birthday. He turned 9 in captivities, held in the dark tunnels beneath the Gaza Strip. Hamas committing war crimes by abducting innocent civilians. Yesterday, Israel released 39 security prisoners, terrorists, in order for Israel to receive 13 hostages. Let me make that very clear. 13 innocent civilian hostages was released from inside the Gaza Strip. Women and children and grandmothers, civilians who was in their house, who was brutally kidnapped by Hamas, and Israel has to release security prisoners / terrorists who has committed terrorist attack, some of them trying to murder Israelis. I hear some media saying the prisoners. No. These were terrorists and security prisoners. These were innocent Israeli civilians. So yesterday, 13 Israelis was released, and there were also released people from Thailand, which has nothing to do with the deal between Hamas and Israel for the Israelis. So 13 was released yesterday, and here are their photos. In the top, you can see grandmother, mother, and son being released. Down here is a mother and her 2 young girls. And then more elderly women being released. I want to show you something else. This is another deeply moving video. A mother with 2 children, 2 and 4 years old, were kidnapped. You can't even imagine the horror of a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old with their mother being kidnapped into Gaza. We saw videos of them on the back of a truck, being paraded in the streets where the civilians were yelling at them and cursing at them. They were released yesterday and they were together with their father. I want to show you this really touching movie. Here they are.
כן? חשבתם על אבא? חביבי, חשבת על אבא? כן? חשבת על דברים טובים? כן?
Deeply moving. Deeply moving. And the 4-year-old is saying, I was dreaming about coming home. And the father is saying, your dream is coming true. You are here now. You are home in Israel. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what Hamas did. So 13 people was released, and I shared the video. If you follow my social media, especially on my Telegram channel, I can share things on Telegram that you don't see on my other channels. But Hamas, covered up like the cowards they are with all of their weapons, is bringing these hostages, handing them over to the Red Cross, doing a huge PR spin where they are holding this young boy, helping him to the car. They are lifting one of the grandmothers into the car, doing all of this publicity stunts, while they in fact kidnapped these innocent people. They kidnapped them, they dragged them down to the dungeons, the tunnels, and they held them there for nearly 50 days. savage, evil monsters. And now they were showing like the merciful helping them into the cars. And in the midst of all of that, tons of civilians around them cheering. Who are they? Where did they come from? Simply unbelievable. So they are home now, and like I said, 13 released Israelis, innocent civilians, and Israel had to release 39 security prisoners. What happened? Were they sent to Gaza? No. They were sent home to where they lived in East Jerusalem and also out in Judea and Samaria. Absolutely sickening, demonic evil. I also shared that video on my Telegram when these were female security prisoners, some of them. When they came into the bus with the Red Cross, what did they do? They were showing the green flag of Hamas, thanking Hamas for getting us out of prisons. Evil, sick, terrorist women. And here they are, also a huge crowd waiting to welcome them home with what? Hamas flags. Unbelievable. So this photo here is really showing you what this is all about. And here is the young girl who was being held captive. Innocent Jewish people, innocent Jewish girl kidnapped by Hamas, and she's gonna be free. What is Israel have to set free? A 26-year-old terrorist. She stabbed 2 Israeli civilians when she was 18 years old. So Israel is getting an innocent girl, and we have to release this sick, evil terrorist. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And they are out celebrating all of these terrorists coming home, and they are thanking Hamas. It's unbelievable. So now we're counting down the hours. The same is going to happen today. The number that we have received is that 14 Israeli civilians is going to be released in front the Gaza Strip, and there's going to be a large number of children, thank goodness. But we are going to have to release 3 times as many, and they are going to be terrorists again. These are going to be people who have committed terrorism. And I have reported from all the years that I have lived here, I have reported about every single terror attack that they have committed, including the young Jewish mother who was sitting out in East Jerusalem, who was stabbed in the back by a female Palestinian terrorist in front of her children. That happened 2 years ago. I reported about that extensively, and it was also caught on camera. It is just unbelievable. So it's a very, 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 very emotional time here. When I see that they are coming home, it's just, I can't even imagine. So now, of course, they're going to need privacy. They're going to have to go home, to pull back, be with their families. Some of them are elderly women who was kidnapped into the Gaza Strip, including this sweet old grandmother she was the one we saw that they were parading around in the streets in a golf car. They were kidnapped, they drove him around in the streets screaming, a Jew, and people were cursing at her. Sweet old grandma, she was also released. So again, we are going to have 14 Israelis released at 4 o'clock tonight. It's going to be the same. Hamas is going to hand them over to the Red Cross, and they're going to be taken to a hospital to just quickly be checked out, going into Egypt. They're going to meet Israeli personnel, and then they're going to be taking again into a military base where Israeli doctors quickly are going to examine them, and then they're going to be taking in Israeli military helicopters into different hospitals around Israel where they're going to be checked out, especially the big children's hospital where the ones who was released yesterday is right now being checked with their families. But of course they are going to have extensive psychological help and treatment now. So it's just, our heart is with them. Our hearts are really, really with them. At the same time, what happened yesterday? I want to show you this. If you wonder what is this is in Tulkarem, out in Samaria, a Palestinian Arab village. A little bit more than a week ago, 4 terrorists was taking out 4 high-profile terrorists, a terrorist cell who was committing or who had been involved in terror activities. They were planning an imminent terror attacks, and with help of intelligence, the Israeli military took them out. They found them, they surrounded them, they killed them. And then this happens because the civilians inside Tulkarem, they took 2 people yesterday and they said, you collaborated with Israel in the murder of those 2, so they executed them in public. They executed them in public and they strung them up like this, hanging like that, and then they completely desecrated their bodies. This is what they do to their own people. This happened out in Samaria. This is what they do to their own people. And I didn't share the videos because it was simply too horrific. But everybody's standing with their cell phone filming it, like you would think there was some favorite movie star. But no, this is how sick and evil they are. 2 people with charges of collaborating with Israel, and they executed them in public out in Tulkarem this morning. I have said this before and I will say this again. If you think for a second that Hamas is only inside the Gaza Strip, you are sadly mistaken. Hamas is very, very popular around the Palestinian Arabs out in Judea and Samaria. That is why Abu Mazen, the leader of the Palestinians, the Fatah, Israel's supposed to be peace partner, he hasn't held an election for more than 10, 12, 15 years, because he knows if I allow an election, I'm going to lose and Hamas is going to gain. They're going to win. They're going to take over. They are going to be Israel's peace partner out in Judea and Samaria. They are very, 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 very popular. They are also Hamas terrorists and Hamas supporter here in East Jerusalem. And that's what we saw yesterday with these female terrorists being released. What are they doing? Who are they thanking? Hamas. Hamas. So we are counting the hours for more Israelis being released today, 14. But again, Israel has to give up 42 convicted prisoners in that exchange. And at the same time, during these 4 days where this is going on, there's going to be 50 Israeli civilians being freed from inside the Gaza Strip. Israel is going to send in 500,000 liters of fuel into the Gaza Strip. Of course, if Hamas steals some of it, they have enough to be in their bunkers for months. Hundreds and hundreds of trucks are going in with provision, with food, with water, which is also a part of this. So it's a very challenging time. It's a very emotional time for us. When I look at these children, and we are going to see more children coming out today, innocent, precious children. There is a 4-year-old girl. It was her birthday, but yesterday her name was Abigail. Her parents were murdered in front of her, and she was dragged into the Gaza Strip, and she has been held in the tunnels. Who has been holding her? Who was with her yesterday on her 4-year-old birthday? Who has held her when she was crying in the night, replaying in her head how she saw her parents was being murdered? On the same time, so many people are still, they don't have a home. They lost everything. Their houses were burned down. They don't have anything. They are homeless. They lost their homes and they are now staying in hotels. People in the north, almost, was it 70,000 people in the north has been told, you can't stay in your house because you're living too close to the northern border. So they are also staying in hotels. So you can't even fathom all of the atrocities that happened that day, but also all of the ramifications of all of this. It's simply unbelievable. But for now, there is this humanitarian truce for 4 days where the Israeli military is quiet and no rockets are supposed to be fired from Gaza. Now you can see, actually, there was an incident today on the northern border. Let me try and find that so you can get that information. That was an announcement from the Israeli military. This is what the Israeli military is saying. Following the sirens that sounded in northern Israel, a suspicious aerial target that crossed from Lebanon was successfully intercepted by the IDF aerial defense array. So we were attacked from the north today, because otherwise this humanitarian pause was also supposed to include in the north with Hezbollah. So 4 days humanitarian truce, 50 Israeli hostages are going to come out, and 150 convicted prisoners, some of them terrorists, that we have to release in exchange for 50 Israeli hostages. So that was the latest update. Right now, we are looking at the time at 4 p.m. According to plan, 14 more Israeli civilians is going to be released, a lot of them children, God willingly, and then I will keep you updated at that time. Bye.